Hello everyone, I'm Ross and I'm going to show you how you can create your own Vite plugin. Vite's a popular JavaScript bundler and development server, and it also has a plugin ecosystem that has become a really large part of the JavaScript framework ecosystem, and it powers a lot of frameworks such as SvelteKit, Nuxt, Astro, and now Remix and SolidStart. So it's interesting to know how these plugins work. I hope this tutorial helps you understand what's going on under the hood in some of these modern frameworks. So let's get started. We'll start by creating a new Vite project. We can run npm create Vite at latest. And we're just going to create the project in the current directory using vanilla and TypeScript. All right. Now we're just going to do a few housekeeping things. We're going to delete some of the demo project that they provide. So we'll delete the counter. We'll delete everything in main.ts, delete all the styles, and then we'll delete this extra div within the HTML. And then we need a few more dependencies. So we're going to add in types for Node.js as a development dependency. And then we're going to add in link DOM, which we'll use to parse our HTML and modify it. So now we have everything set up. We're going to add in a Vite config. This is where you can add plugins that other people have written, or you can write your own, which we'll be doing right in line in our Vite config today. So I'll copy and paste this over. And so what's going on here? We have a define config function where we can pass in an object and provide an array of plugins. So usually it might look something like this, and we're going to add in our plugin. The name of our plugin is going to be HTML partials. So we're going to add in some functionality where we can reuse HTML in different spots throughout our application with custom elements. And we're going to use the transform index HTML hook to accomplish this. That hook has a handler function, and the argument for that function is our index.html page. So this is our index.html as text. And we're just going to log that out just to make sure this is working correctly. So let's restart our development server. And we'll need to navigate back to localhost 5173, and you can see that it has logged our index.html page. And this is happening on the server, not in the client. So all of this work will be done at build time. Next, we're going to create our plugin. So instead of just logging the HTML, we're going to add in some different functionality. Whatever we return from our handler will be the final HTML page. So if we want to add in a script tag or different things, we can do that here. We're going to add in a way to read our partials and insert them onto the page where we want them. So we're going to add in the parse HTML import from link DOM, which will allow us to create a DOM on the server using our HTML page. So we can say const DOM equals parse HTML and then pass in our HTML. So now we have a server-side DOM. So for example, if we want to say document.body.append, and we can append some text, and then we need to return the final document. So we can use the document.toString method, and that will give us the string of our updated HTML. So let's make sure this is working. We can navigate back to our page, and you can see we have hello world inserted onto our page. So next we're going to create a partial that we want to reuse in our index.html page. So let's create a partials folder, and then we're just going to make a button element. And this button element will trigger an alert, and then it also has some markup and styles with it. So we're using a custom element since this will be contained within the My Button element, just to scope our query selector. And we're going to say if it has a button element in it, we're going to add a click event listener that triggers an alert. We also have a slot in here, which we'll have to deal with in our plugin. So whatever we have inside of that custom element, we want to render there. And then we also have a style tag. So what do we want to accomplish? If we have a My Button element in here with some text, we want to render our button inside of that and also insert this script tag into the head of the document and also insert this style tag into the head. We want to do the script and style tag once because we only want these to run one time, but for the actual markup, we want to reuse that every time we see one of these custom elements. So every time we have a My Button, we would want this to render the button element inside of it. So let's create our plugin. So we need to read our list of partials. So the first thing we can do is, instead of appending some text to the document, we're going to read the partials directory. And we're going to need to use fs, the node file system module. I'm going to use the async version. And we're going to read a directory, which will give us a list of the file names inside of this directory. And then we want to process each partial that we have. So for each of the file names in partial file names, we're going to process them. So let's just log out the file names just to make sure we're on the right track here. And we'll navigate back to our page. And you can see we've logged out My Button, which is our only partial currently. So this seems to be working. Next, we'll add in some processing logic. So we need to get the name of our custom element. So we need to understand we're trying to find all the My Button elements that are on the index.html page. So we need to know what we're looking for. We're going to first get the name, which we can use the file name to do this. Since the file name is mybutton.html, we're going to split on the dot and then get the first element to get the name. And then for the content, we're going to, let me get rid of this side here. For the content, we're going to actually read that file. And we're going to read from source partials and then the file name. And that will give us the contents of whatever's in that file. And then finally, we're going to say if name and content. So if we have both of these things, we can process that partial. So the first thing we're going to do is create a new DOM from that partial. So we're going to parse HTML, and instead of the index.html page, we're going to use the content. So we're parsing this into a new DOM. So now we have a DOM containing this, which I'll call the main DOM, and then a DOM containing our partial, which I call partial DOM. Next, we're going to move all of our scripts from this partial DOM into our index.html head. So we want the script here and this style tag to move into the head of this HTML file. So we'll use document.querySelectorAll to find all of them. And then we will, for each element that's in our scripts and styles, we're going to copy it onto the main DOM. And then we're going to call element.remove, which will remove it from our partial DOM. Finally, we'll insert our slotted content within the custom element into the partial, and then insert the process partial into the main DOM. So we're going to find all the My Button elements in the main DOM. So any of these elements, we're going to find them, and then we're going to, for each one of them, we're going to make sure it has the right content inside of it. So altogether, we have our plugin created in under 50 lines of code. And now we can test. So we've already added in our button. If our dev server isn't running, we'll have to restart that. Okay, we're still running our dev server. So let's check out what this looks like. And you can see now we have an alert button with our, let's make sure our, we can see our styles are in there since it's colored now. And you can also see our script is linked in here. And we'll click it and we'll see that our alert also is successful. You can run npm run build. You'll be able to see the output of the modified HTML along with the bundled JavaScript. So let's do that real quick. And if you look in dist, you can see we have our style tag in here. We also have our script tag, which will link us to this asset, which contains our custom element class. And then we also have our HTML that was inserted inside of our button. So this is a pretty basic plugin. There's lots of cases it doesn't consider, but it's a good starting point for understanding more about how Vite plugins work and how bundling tools work under the hood. You may want to add like a file watcher, or maybe you want to add in some modifications to the JS code. Maybe you want to make it so you can use TypeScript inside of your partials. And you can use lots of different hooks in Vite in order to accomplish this. Let me know if you enjoyed this video, and maybe I'll make more videos that add functionality to this plugin. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.